Okay, today we're talking to Wanda Burgess Traver about her early memories. And I'm going to ask her some questions. And of course she's going to be shy being on camera. But we thought this would be worthwhile, you know, if 100 years from now, or 200 or 300 years from now, so people want the information that she might tell us. First of all, let's see. Tell us who you were born to.
And Sarah Burgess.
Okay, be sure you talk loud now, because be sure to talk loud.
Tonight, 1905.
1905. Yeah. Let's see, that was maybe 85 years ago already, wasn't it? 85.
Almost. It'll be in August. 85 years.
Now, how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 5 sisters and 2 brothers.
What were the 5 sisters' names?
There was Ruth, and Lydia, and Irma, and Donna, and me. That was 5 girls, wasn't it?
Who's Donna?
She's the baby that died.
She's the baby that died, okay.
And
And
there was Ronald, Frank and Ronald and Arthur. I had 3 brothers, and Frank and Arnold. Frank and Ronald and Arthur, 3 brothers.
And Ronald also died. Okay. How old was Ronald when he died?
4.
4. You remember that?
Oh, that's when I learned to accept that. When he died, I'd forget. I was, I think, 12 years old, and I'd forget to put his plate on the table, and then I'd cry when I realized, you know, I'd set his place and he wasn't there, because he used to go to Grandpa's Burgess's a lot, and but he'd come home at mealtime, you know, and at mealtime I'd forget to set his place, and finally I got to the point where I could accept death, and from then on, death has never bothered me.
What did he die of?
He died when they had that flu, 1918.
Oh, flu?
That, you know, that, what they call it?
Epidemic?
Yeah, well, it was
Black
a flu
Death,
that
or?
people died, just dropped dead with it, you know. Like at the woolen mill, these people would be working today, go home at night, and the next morning they'd be dead.
Yeah.
That's just how fast that flu killed them. And Ronald got it. He was the only one in their family that took it.
What about the girl? What,
No, I
Donna?
had it too. I had the flu.
You did?
Too. Yeah. Because Grandma Lindy come home from the mill. She thought that I was so sick that she'd come home from the mill. She was worried about me. And
What about
what mother didn't get it.
what about the Donna?
She was born dead.
Well, she was.
But they said Donna because that's what mother was going to name her. She did live.
Now you mentioned Grandma
Lindley.
and Grandpa Burgess.
Grandpa
Now,
Burgess.
who are those people? What are their names?
Alfred Burgess was my dad's father.
Okay.
And Alice Lindley was my mother's mother. And Grandma stayed with us a lot.
Okay. Now, what was her maiden name?
Carter.
Carter. Okay.
Alice Carter.
And so you remember them pretty well.
Real good. Real good.
How old were you when they died?
Wilma was 2 when Grandma Lindley died, so I must have been 22 when Grandma died.
So you remember real well then.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Now, what about
She was always calling us dang brats. She always called my mother Peggy. You know,
why did she call her Peggy?
I don't know. They always called Mother Peggy. Her name was Sarah, but she didn't have any middle name, so I don't know. But they always called her Peggy. And in fact, when Mother passed away, Aunt Livy had a pillow and had Peggy on it instead of Mother's name.
Is that right? Now, when did Grandpa Ben and Sarah get married?
1902.
1902.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She was 16 and he was 19.
16 and 19. And do you remember anything about your great grandparents?
Yes, I do.
Now, who were they?
My great-grandpa Burgess was a little Englishman. And I think I was only 3 years old, they said, when he died. But I can remember him. I used to take a hold of his arm and help him up the steps. A little 3-year-old, you know, helping him up the steps.
What was his name?
Alfred.
Alfred, okay. And who was he married to?
Susan.
Susan.
Uh-huh.
What was her maiden name, do you remember?
I can't remember what her
Maiden name?
but she was his second wife.
Oh, she was?
His first wife died. But of course, I never heard of her. It was always Grandma Susan.
Yeah.
And she was a big fleshy woman. I can see her yet. We lived down back of what would be the mercantile store, there in Coverdale. And she'd come waddling down the street like this. She was a big woman, you know.
Now, he had what, 3 sons and 2 daughters? Your great-grandfather. He had Ben.
No, you mean my grandfather. That's my grandfather.
Oh, your grandfather.
Yeah,
Okay.
he had Claude and Maud and Ben and Frank, and then the little girl died, and Edna. They had 6 children.
They were all living in Columbiaville?
No. Grandpa was a minister, and I think he was preaching in Deerfield. So I think maybe they lived in Thomas. But my dad was born in Columbiaville, so they must have lived there.
They must have moved there sometime.
Because they lived, he was born in that house, you know, where we live.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my
In
dad was
Columbiaville?
born there. And the year that he was born, Grandma set that tree up in front of the house. So that tree is as old as my dad.
Oh.
Yeah, he was 100 years old now, but Dad.
That's, last time we went by there, the tree was still there.
Yeah.
Last time we were there.
Yeah. The
So
people
joy.
that bought the house really kept it up nice.
Have they?
It makes you feel good, you know, when you
Yeah.
go by and wasn't run down like next door here.
Yeah.
Well, can you remember anything unusual about your great-grandfather other than he was in English and little? Do you
He
have
was
a
a
good
lawyer.
lawyer? Do you have a good sense of humor, or was he grouchy? Or
Oh, no, he was a good-natured old man. They was telling about, I went to Sunday school one time, and I come home, and Grandpa said, well, Wanda, what did you learn in Sunday school today? See, now I was only about 3 years old when he died, so it must have been when I was about 3. I said, the man climbed up in the tree to see Jesus, and Jesus said, come on down, I'll eat supper with you. And they all laughed, you know, and he said, now she knows what she's talking about.
That's cute.
No.
I'll eat supper with you.
Well, I remember when your grandma Lindley used to stay with Jim and Janie
Yeah,
Carter, you know,
yeah.
across the road from us. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how old? He died before your great-grandmother did.
Yeah. Ruth found her dead. And she was getting ready to go to pier towards some of her relatives. And she had taken a basin of water in the living room to wash her feet. And she
Just died right there.
died right there in the chair.
How old do you think she was?
Well, Ruth was 5 when Grandma died. And so I wouldn't have any idea how old Grandma was. I don't know. She was our great-grandma.
Right.
But Ruth found her dead. She was to go down to Little Pier on the train that morning and then come back that night. And so Ruth went up to see, you know, if Grandma got home. And she come running back to tell Mother, Grandma laid on the floor. She could see her from, I think they must have had a hard coal burner or something so that there was a light from something in the living room that she could see Grandma on the floor. So she'd been dead all day.
Can you remember the first time you saw your first automobile?
Yes, Mr. Leesaw had it, and it was one of these old-fashioned long yoke.
Kind of had to crank and start and everything?
Yeah, oh yeah, and it was Stanley Steamer.
Well, if you were living in Columbiaville when you were a little girl and you wanted to go shopping, where would you go? Other than Columbiaville?
Pier
You go to Lapeer, and how would you get there?
on a train.
Take a train, okay?
they used to drive horse and buggy.
Yeah, well, we didn't have a horse and buggy.
No, we lived out in the country.
Yeah, I know it.
So you took a train there, and it would take you maybe an hour to get there.
No, about 10, 15 minutes, just go from Columbiaville to Lapeer.
And then you would just, you never,
That's what we used to do for recreation when we were kids. We'd go down and watch the trains come in at night, you know, and they passed in Columbiaville. One would come in and going north and one would going south.
but you never went to Flint to shop, you just went to Lapeer.
Well, when I got older, I went to Flint.
Okay. But then by then,
By that time, we had cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad had a what was that car they called? They said they went so far on gas that you had to draw the gas out.
Well, what can you,
Whip it, he had a whip it.
what's your earliest memories of your parents?
Well, I just know we had such a happy childhood. I guess there wasn't anything unusual.
Can you think of anything funny that happened to your?
Yeah,
your,
my dad pushed me down the water one time when I was a kid.
What do you mean he pushed you down the water?
We went out to North Lake on a vacation, and I said, I could swim if I could get down the water. So my dad stood there and he said, why don't you put on your bathing suit? And I looked down like that, and he pushed me down, and I went down, you know, I was scared, you know. And I come up and I said, you darn fool, what you trying to do, drown me?
Well, how, was the water deep?
Well, I don't suppose it was too deep. But you know, to take your breath away.
How old were you when he did that?
I imagine 7, I think about 7 years old. We went out there and stayed a week at a cottage at North Lake. Big deal, North Lake.
Now, when did, what about your grandmother? I mean, your mother, what do you remember some things about her?
My mother?
Do you remember anything funny that happened?
Just when she lived there in Flint, you know, on Mary Street, we were going to go shopping, and it was winter time, you know, the snow was deep, and you know, their banks slanted, you know, and I had parked in front of the house, and she was going to come down and get the front seat with me, you know, and she said, oh, the snow, you know, and I said, well, just come fast. I meant run down and grab the car, you know. And she started, she slipped. She had to go back and change her clothes.
Does he really appreciate what you said, huh?
Yeah. Come fast. She came fast.
Who gave the discipline when you were growing up? Was it grandma or grandpa?
My mother. My dad never laid a hand on us.
Even the boys he didn't spank?
Mm-mm. He, one time, he had a yardstick. I don't know what Frank done. And he swung at it, Frank, and he hit the door and broke the yardstick. He never touched Frank. Mother said he turned as white as a sheet. He never laid a hand on any of us kids. In fact, one time when we were kids, Frank and I was arguing, I was fighting or something out in the yard. He picked up a tin can and threw it at me, and I ducked, and it went through the kitchen door window.
Broke the window, huh?
He said, if you hadn't ducked, we wouldn't have broke the window.
So you were the bad guy, huh?
And I said, I thought, boy, this is once Dad's going to give us a licking. You know, he never did. Mother told him what had happened, you know. He said, well, this is the first window they've ever broken. So he just took it over and fixed it. Never said a word to us kids.
Now, did you have, when you were young, how did they heat the house?
We had a hard coal burner.
You had the coal even those days? You did, what wood of it was coal? A coal burner? Was
You know,
it
one of those
a big thing down in the basement?
No, one of those big hard coal burners. Haven't you ever seen them? You know?
Probably the ones we had like when we lived in Ypsilanti.
I don't know.
You remember it was between our bedrooms, between where we slept and where Mom and Dad slept. Okay? It was this big old stove they put coal in to
Yeah,
heat
but
with.
no, this was had a magazine, you know, that you put the coal in the top and it just.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
and it had like wings on the sides of it, you know,
But where was it located?
in the living room.
Right there in Columbiaville.
Uh-huh.
Then later on, you
Later on, Dad put the furnace
you
in.
see them with the air ducts through the bottom of the floors.
Yeah, but this was when we lived down in the Littleberry house.
Oh, okay.
Well, we had it up there too, but at the Littleberry house, I was getting ready for bed. It was winter time, and I hung my nightgown up on the arm of that, just set my nightgown on fire.
Isinglass windows in the
Yeah, I
hard coal
had
burner.
isinglass windows in it.
With
so
ours,
that
we used
you
to
could see
have
the fire. You
roll
know.
one.
Uncle Fred and his wife
Ready?
used to put their bread, you know, on a long fork and hold it in those stoves and toast the bread. That's the way they toasted their bread. So they had doors on it, I guess, that you could open. But you put the coal in from the top.
Well, who were some of the relatives that lived there in Columbiaville with you?
Just my grandmother and well, Grandpa Burgess lived there. Aunt Liddy lived out on the farm.
Who's Aunt Liddy?
Mother's sister.
Okay. And how could, but wasn't his name Fred Carter?
Uh-huh.
Was he related to your
They were cousins.
cousins?
They were cousins. Aunt Liddy and Uncle Fred were cousins.
Okay. Well, if Aunt Liddy was cousin, wasn't, I mean, what cousin was she? First, second, third?
First, I think first cousins. I think they were first cousins.
Okay. And both of them were first cousins. But how were they related to your mother? Were they both first cousins to your mother?
No, Aunt Liddy was mother's sister.
Oh, mother's sister, okay.
Yeah.
And then Uncle Fred was what then?
He was her brother-in-law. I don't know how they were
But
related.
they weren't related.
I don't know who Uncle Fred, there was, Uncle Fred had two sisters and a brother or something in Clementville, but I don't know. They were from Ireland too, I guess, you know. The Carters all came from Ireland.
Wasn't there Joseph and Matt Carter too?
That was Grandma Lindley's.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh no, Joe Carter and Matt Carter and Jim and Joe and Matt were Uncle Fred's brothers, weren't they?
What about Jim and Fred?
Well, Jim was Grandma's brother, Grandma Lindley's brother.
Oh, that's why she was out there.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Grandma lived in Toronto.
Yeah.
That's where my mother was born. And Uncle Jim got her to come to Columbia after her husband died.
Oh.
And then he charged her board for my mother.
Now, the great-grandpa Burgess, okay.
Yeah.
Did he move from Canada to the United States?
I can't remember where the Burgesses came from. They came from England.
Right, originally, yeah.
Yeah, but how they got,
When I was over there, I looked up in the phone book, the Burgesses in London.
oh, did you?
You know, there's page after page after page.
Of
It's like
Burgesses,
Smiths, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a name that they used to call people who lived
House
in
of
cities.
Burgesses. They used to, you know.
Yeah, House of Burgesses
Yeah.
means people who came from the cities.
They said they thought my Grandpa Lindley was from you know, higher class
Aristocracy,
family, you know, yeah.
aristocrats.
Uh-huh. Because some different things. And then one time his folks advertised for him, or I guess maybe when his parents died or something, he never answered.
Now, did you get to go to school when you were growing up?
Sure.
Did you go to? Did they have kindergartens then? So you went through kindergarten. Did you?
Kindergarten to the 11th grade.
Great. You didn't graduate from high school.
No.
Was there a 12th grade in those days? You just quit 11th grade and got married
Mhm.
to Les.
Mhm.
Okay. Where did you meet him?
In Columbia.
He was working there or lived there?
Well, he lived there, and he worked in the woolen mill. I don't know whether he was working in the mill when I met him or not. I don't. Yeah, I think he was. I think he was working in the mill. He just come up. I was sitting on the porch one evening. He'd come up and talk to me, you know. And then afterwards, he wanted to take me to the show or something. So we started going together. We went together a year and a half before we were married.
Okay. Now, when did my mother get married? How old were you when my mother got married?
My mother was 18. I must have been 32.
You were 32 and she was 18.
I'm 14 years old.
Do you remember the wedding? Did you go to the wedding? They were married in the pier, were they not?
I was in the hospital when your mother got married. I'd had surgery because she said they had set their wedding date. She said if anything happened to me, she knew that she wasn't supposed to get married. So I was in the hospital when she was married, so I didn't get to go to
There
her
was the
wedding.
woman's hospital, wasn't it, on the Pier Road?
Yeah, woman's
Yeah.
hospital on the
I remember
road.
going there.
Yeah, yeah.
And you had just one child, Will.
Yeah. She had three. I got three grandchildren.
3
Two
grandchildren.
great grandchildren. If I live long enough, I'll probably have a great grandchild. Because Nicole's gonna get married this summer.
See, Maxine and Rod are here. Donna's in
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And she's had 3?
Two.
2.
She had a girl and a boy.
Okay.
Yeah. Nicole. Nicole will be 21 in June. My great-granddaughter, 21 in June.
So you could be a great grandmother.
Great-grandmother. That's what I said.
Yeah.
She's going to get married this summer. If I live long enough, I could be a great-grandmother.
Well, as long as you keep winning at bingo, I think you probably will. You know, 'cause I know, of course, you went through a spell there where you didn't win some, you didn't get too depressed, did you?
Oh,
January,
no.
February, whenever it was, you didn't win some?
January, I didn't
January.
win much. February. No, February was the poor
Yeah.
month. March was a good month. Then April's starting out kind of slow. It'll catch up after a while.
So you lived in that same house and actually all your life until you got married. Where did you move from there?
We went to
When you got married, where'd you go? Stay
Mount
right
Morris. We went to Mount Morris for about 2 months, and then we went to Belsey, you know, there for the lumber yard. Lesworth. We worked there 22 years.
there? 22 years. Then you went from there to where?
Curtis.
Curtis?
Well, we moved to Davison,
Uh-huh.
and you know, Algoma was going to high school, and then from Davison we went to Curtis.
And you were in Curtis
25
for
years.
And you sold that and moved down here. Why did you pick Bradenton?
Because we had some friends here in a trailer park. We came down, spent the winter with them. And well, you know, we had our own trailer, but the Greenfields, they had a resort in Curtis too.
Now, when I was younger, you know, like when Mom had her, no, when Grandma had her 50th, wedding anniversary.
Yeah,
And they're in Roseville.
yeah.
And
That was 52.
yeah, there was lots of relatives that came that I had never seen before, never seen since.
Well, that was Grandpa Burgess's sister and her children.
Now, where did they come from? From
Canada.
Canada?
From, Windsor.
Because I remember some of them came from Canada.
Yeah, that was Aunt Edna and her boy and his wife. And, I don't know, they had another daughter-in-law. I don't think so, because Edna
Yeah.
and Violet was in the picture with Dad and Mother. So I think maybe that was just the three of them.
Now, when you say Violet, you talk about Aunt Violet, married Uncle Frank.
No, Violet. And Edna's daughter-in-law's name was Violet too.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there was, you know, I can still see some of those people in my mind because I've never
Yeah.
seen before. I know those were great events, you know, but
Yeah.
but I never could understand who they were. They're just,
They were Dad's sister and her family. They came from Windsor.
but what about Grandma's relatives? None of hers came.
I don't think so. I don't remember Aunt Liddy. And Aunt Liddy lived longer than Mother, so
Yeah.
she was alive, but I don't
Aunt
remember
Liddy
being
wasn't
at
there.
the.
No.
At the
That was, she only had one sister? No brothers?
Well, she had 2 brothers, but they died.
Oh, okay.
Grandma had Joseph, and then Liddy, and then Sarah, and then Abel. And the 2 boys were dead when we came to Clementon. I don't know what happened to them. The oldest and the youngest died. She had the 2 girls when she came there.
Grandma and Grandpa are both buried in Columbiaville.
Uh-huh.
What about your great-grandpa and great-grandma?
They're all buried.
Buried right there in Columbiaville?
They're all buried there.
Same cemetery, it
Same
overlooks the
cemetery.
lake now?
That's where Les is too.
Yeah, is that right? His ashes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, didn't he say that's where he wanted to be buried? Didn't he say that? I remember you telling me something about that.
Yeah. Buried in Clementon. We had lots in Smith Hill, at Otisville, but we wanted to be in Clementon.
What about you now?
I'll be there with them. I've already got my,
You got it all arranged, huh?
funeral's all paid for.
That's what Jolene's father had done, and set some money aside. Of course, Mom and Dad have done that too now. They've gotten their plots there in Tiffany.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Of course, it'll probably be 20 years before they have to even use them. A
Yep.
lot can happen in 20 years. Anyway, can you think of any words of wisdoms you'd like to pass on people 100 years from now? How to have a happy life?
Well, it could be done.
Play bingo, right?
Yeah.
But you can't do nothing else. There you go.
Just have good outlook on life. So I try to tell Wilma she gets all uptight, you know, and don't let things bother you. You'll get ulcers.
Yeah. But sometimes that's not easy to do.
Oh, yes, it is.
Can you remember any great historical events that stand out in your mind?
Oh, I lived in a wonderful time. You know, we saw the first automobile, we saw the first radio, the first television, first man to walk on the moon, you know,
Yeah.
all those. I used to say to Les, we couldn't have been born in a nicer time, you know.
It's more exciting times.
You know, airplanes and all that stuff. But I said even my dad, you know, would have enjoyed
all,
man on the moon and
all those new advances.
yeah, that have happened since he passed away. Yeah, I had a good childhood. I had a good marriage. I had a good husband. But I haven't any complaints. I said you have your ups and downs, but you have it with everybody.
I think Jim and Janie had the first car that I ever remember.
Did they?
No?
Yeah. I can remember my dad's first car was a Ford.
And they always put it up on blocks in the wintertime in the garage.
Yeah, yeah. Dr. Cheever, I think, had about the second car that I ever knew of. And that's the way he did. He'd drive it in the summertime, the wintertime he had to put it up. Yeah. Except we had, like in the wintertime, you know, the people would come in town with their sleighs, you know, and the horses had bells on them, you know.
That was pretty.
Yeah, I always enjoyed that part of it. When it made winter pleasant.
What did you all go to the same church?
Methodist church.
Methodist church.
My mother was an Episcopalian, but she sent us to Methodist church.
Being from England, but
And I think my grandfather was a Baptist minister. I think he was. I'm quite sure Grandpa Burgess. But we all went to the Methodist church.
Grandma would take you. Did Grandpa go too?
Mother didn't go either.
Oh, she did?
She just got us kids ready, and we went to Sunday
Sunday
school.
school?
We stayed to church, and she had us baptized. Oh, she never went to church. Well, one time you get 4 kids ready for Sunday school and church, all ready to. And then she always cooked us a big dinner on Sunday, you know, had roast of beef, and whipped cream cakes, and jello. And so she worked all day getting our dinner ready.
What did your father do for a living?
He was jack of all trades, master of none. He painted. He was a painter, paper hanger.
Really?
He was an electrician. He was a electrical engineer.
But wasn't he also a
Justice
Justice
of
of
Peace.
Peace, yeah.
Justice of Peace.
oh, was that an elected position in Michigan, or were they appointed? He was elected.
No, I think appointed.
Appointed?
I believe so. I think he was appointed Justice of
Now, Grandma, didn't she always used to run a restaurant too? When was
Peace.
this?
They had the hotel too there for a while. You know.
This in the 30s or 20s or?
20s, they had the hotel,
Okay.
because I went there when Wilma was a baby, and that's when I learned that it wasn't bad to wash dishes, because Mother had 22 boarders, and I washed dishes for 22 boarders. So when I went home and had to wash dishes for Les and I,
There's nothing to
chore
it.
at all. It was a waste of time to wash those few dishes.
So, even when you had the hotel, then you also fixed the meal for them, you mean?
Yeah, she had 22 boarders.
So they got a free meal out
Room
of
and
it?
board.
Room and board,
Board.
okay. And so that's when she...
Besides then, you know, the salesman, what they call them, transients or something, when they'd come into town, they'd eat at Mother's, you know. So then,
Oh, she had a restaurant besides.
well, after that, well, yeah, she had the hotel, you know, the dining room there where she fed people. Then after that, they had the restaurant over there, part of the store, mercantile store.
Okay, is this in the 30s?
Yeah,
She still had the restaurant in the 30s?
yeah, I think so.
When did they get out of the restaurant business?
I think about 43 or 44. But I think Rod was born in 43, and I don't think Mother had it much after 43.
I don't remember any restaurant. I do remember going with Grandpa one time out to a farm to feed sheep.
Yeah, that was my grandpa's Burgess's farm.
And I mean, they were, to me, I was very little, to me they were big sheep.
Yeah.
No, but he got rid of that also, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he keep the land, or he just got rid of the sheep? Or he sold everything? He
Sold everything. That's a different box. And I believe the house burned down, didn't it, Isla?
Which one?
The one across, you know, the one there, oh, I can't tell you,
Yeah.
right by the railroad tracks, that farm was
Oh.
right by the railroad track.
Now you keep, you mentioned somebody, 100 years from now, they're going to wonder who you're talking to when you say Isla.
That's my sister-in-law.
Sister-in-law, okay.
Yeah. That's Les's brother's wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you very much for this information, and hopes it helps people sometime in the future.
Want to know what happened to the Burgesses?
Yeah, if it doesn't get burned up or anything.
Yeah.
Let me see if this. What we can do is put it in the VCR and see if it actually came out okay.
Take a picture of
I did already.
Oh, good.
Woman who comes around the corner from nowhere.
They have his video materials of them, I am